New York City is known for its iconic skyline, cultural diversity, and world-famous landmarks. This is Katie from Creative Travel Guide, and today we share this ultimate New York City travel guide. Looking for more travel tips? Make sure to hit subscribe and ring that notification bell. So firstly, let's look at the best time to visit. New York sees visitors all year round, but the best time to visit is April to June or November and December. If it is your first time in the city, we recommend sticking with spring. The weather is pleasant and there are less tourists, so you can see all of the sights without the long queues. However, November and December in New York is magical. The city goes above and beyond with Thanksgiving, Christmas and New Year celebrations. We would highly recommend visiting during the holiday period if you love Christmas and don't mind the crowds too much. It is also a very busy time to visit. So now let's look at getting there. Most visitors arrive in New York at one of the airports. Newark Liberty International Airport is often overlooked, yet cheap flights from Europe can be found flying into Newark every day. JFK is the most popular airport for those heading to the Big Apple, whilst LaGuardia Airport is mainly used for domestic flights. If you are travelling from another US city, you could take a bus to the city using the Greyhound routes, or you could choose to catch a train. Amtrak trains stop at Penn Station along the East Coast line, whilst the Long Island Railroad runs services between Brooklyn, Queens and Long Island. So now let's look at getting around. The subway is the most efficient and convenient way of getting around the city and is fairly inexpensive. However, there aren't subway stops near all of the major attractions. This means that you can't solely rely on the subway. You may need to use the buses, catch a cab, or walk a few blocks to your chosen destination. The buses are a great way to head across Manhattan, and using Google Maps is a brilliant way to find out which route is best for you. However, try your best to avoid rush hour. If this is your first time in New York, we also recommend taking a sightseeing hop-on, hop-off bus. These are fantastic. They will take you around the city. There are various different routes so you can explore all of the neighborhoods, and you can choose to get off the bus whenever you want to go and see a site and then hop back on when you're ready to explore some more. We will leave the link in the description below. And finally, if you have the time, you could also use the New York Water Taxi, an enjoyable way to see the city, especially in the warmer months. So now let's look at typical prices. There are a lot of accommodation options in New York, perfect for all budgets. Dorm beds begin at around $60, whilst budget chain hotels begin at around $100. Mid-range hotel rooms start at $150 in a good location, whilst a room in a 5-star hotel starts at around $400 a night, but make sure to book these in advance. Luxury hotels can reach up to $800 or more during the busier months. New York is known for its food, with dollar pizza slices and food trucks offering food between $1 to $5. Lunches begin at around $10 and dinners range anywhere between $25 to $100 plus, depending on location and what type of restaurant you're going for. Our best advice for budgeting with food in New York is to research restaurants in advance and plan out your itinerary before you go. So the city can be expensive, but there are plenty of ways to experience New York on a budget. Stick to using budget chain hotels like Equilodge to save on accommodation, then stick to walking or using public transport to get around. You could also choose to stay in Queens or Brooklyn for cheaper accommodation options, but just double check that your room has a window and a private bathroom. Get yourself discounted Broadway tickets from the tickets booth or TodayTix and take a free walking tour. Free tours by foot offer great options for you to take a tour whilst learning more about the city. We will leave all of these links in the description below. You can enjoy the many free attractions like Central Park, the High Line and Brooklyn Bridge. Then get yourself a city pass to save on paid attractions, including the Empire State Building, Top of the Rock and the Statue of Liberty. So now let's look at the best things to do in New York City. There is so many attractions to see and do here. Firstly, you will want to head to the most popular sites like Times Square, Brooklyn Bridge, Grand Central Station and the Empire State Building. Next, pay respects at the 9/11 Memorial Museum, then head to one of the many other museums in the city such as the Met. Enjoy some of the best food in the city at Katz Deli, or sing along with the professionals whilst you dine at the Ellen Stardust Diner. Walk off those calories by strolling along the High Line and catch a Yankees game for a great sports experience in the city. Firstly, let's talk about the best time to visit. A trip to New York can vary greatly depending on what time of the year you visit. Summer can be a fantastic time in the city. There are outdoor spaces to explore, you can rely on walking around to most areas via foot, and Central Park is the best place to be. You can also enjoy boat cruises along the Hudson River and enjoy one of the many free concerts and music festivals that run from June to August. Fall is equally as beautiful in the city. Yes, you will need to bring some layers, but the autumnal colours in Central Park are incredible, and there are plenty of indoor attractions to enjoy in the city too. Winter is by far my favourite time to visit New York. You can find Christmas markets and events all over the city. Hotels, stores and parks are full with decorations, and there are plenty of festive events and activities to enjoy. Spring is a great time for budget travellers to head to the city. New York is always going to be an expensive trip in comparison to other cities in North America, but visiting in March or April can offer discounted hotel prices, fewer crowds, but still comfortable weather. So now let's talk you through how to plan a trip to New York City. So you have chosen your season to visit, but now it is time to get planning. First things first, make a list of all of the things that you want to do in New York. There are so many things to see and do that seeing everything just isn't possible unless you plan on spending multiple weeks here. Instead, prioritize your top attractions and stick to them. Next, you will want to make an itinerary. Find your chosen attractions on Google Maps and work out how near the attractions are to one another. This way you can group activities into days and work out how many days that you will need in the city. We always recommend planning an extra day where possible because there are so many things to see and do, and everything does seem to take a little longer when sightseeing in New York. So now let's look at getting there. Most travellers will fly into one of the 3 major airports near the city, with JFK and Newark being the main entry points for international travellers. From Newark Airport, you can catch a New Jersey Transit train to Penn Station, with journeys taking around 30 minutes. There is also an Airport Express shuttle service with journeys taking 45 minutes to an hour depending on traffic. From JFK, you can catch the air train to the Jamaica station, then catch the subway into the city or take a taxi directly to your hotel. LaGuardia is a popular option for domestic travellers as more budget-friendly shorter flights tend to arrive here. This airport is nearer to upper or midtown Manhattan, and a taxi will take around 30 minutes into the city. However, taxis and buses are currently the main way travellers can travel between the airport and the city. So now let's look at where to stay in New York City. You have made an itinerary, you have worked out your flights, but now we need to decide where to stay. Every neighbourhood in New York is different and diverse and has a lot to offer visitors, so let's find the perfect place for you. Hell's Kitchen is one of the coolest neighbourhoods and is the ideal place for foodies and first-time visitors. You can find plenty of awesome restaurants in this area, but you are also not too far from major attractions like Times Square, Rockefeller Center and Central Park. Midtown is ideal for those looking to see as many tourist attractions as they can. We love staying near Times Square because you are right by Broadway, you can catch the subway to all the major sites, and there are plenty of cheap eats around. The Upper West Side is more expensive than other neighbourhoods, but its great location near Central Park and the museums make it ideal for families. The East Village is great for nightlife with plenty of bars in the area, whilst West Village and Chelsea have a great mixture of restaurants and cafes and diverse accommodation options. If you are visiting New York on a budget, you can look at the Lower East Side of Manhattan or stay outside of Manhattan in an area like Williamsburg. So now let's look at the best things to do in New York. New York City is a fantastic place because of all of the amazing attractions and sights. We will be naming just a few, but you can learn more about the best things to do in New York over on our website Creative Travel Guide. We'll leave the link in the description. So let's jump in. Of course, we have to start with the Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island. Arrive early and jump on the boat to visit both historic landmarks and, if possible, book a ticket to the Statue of Liberty crown. Times Square and Broadway is another great place to visit. This is the hub of Manhattan and is a must-see for your first visit to the city. See the bright lights, stumble through the crowds, and catch a show. Central Park is an iconic park that offers fountains, monuments, bridges, sculptures, arches, alongside many playgrounds, an ice skating rink in the winter, a castle, and even a zoo. For amazing views that include the Empire State Building, head to Rockefeller Center. If you are visiting the city at Christmas, this is a festive area with a giant Christmas tree, ice skating rink, and is not too far from the store displays and light shows. If you want to save some money on your trip, the Rockefeller tickets are included in the New York City Pass, a sightseeing pass that gives you free admission into multiple top attractions in the city. We will leave the link in the description below. Then we have Brooklyn Bridge. Walk across this iconic bridge and take in amazing views of New York City from the other side. Then we have the 9/11 Memorial and Museum. Visit the foundation of the former Twin Towers, which has been transformed into a beautiful memorial that remembers the events of September the 11th. Then we have Grand Central Terminal. This is one of the busiest train stations in the world and a stunning piece of architecture in the city. If you love art, then you need to head to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. The Met is a must-see for anyone who appreciates art and history. Located in a Gothic-styled building just a few steps away from Central Park, this museum is home to the 2,000-year-old Egyptian temple, as well as works of art by Vincent van Gogh. For something a little different, you could also head to Coney Island. This beachfront American town has all the old-time charms, great eats and fun rides, including the famous Cyclone roller coaster. If you love the theatre, then you need to catch a Broadway show. There are plenty of classic musicals to choose from, alongside many Disney shows that are perfect for families and more dramatic plays for those that don't like too much song and dance. No trip to the city is complete without a trip to the top of the Empire State Building. Not only can you enjoy incredible views from the top, but you can also learn about the history of this iconic building. Entrance to the Empire State Building is also included in the New York City Pass. New York is full of iconic landmarks and famous buildings. If you are short on time, we recommend you take a big bus tour. This is a hop-on, hop-off style tour that will take you around all of the main neighborhoods and areas of the city, giving you an opportunity to see all of those incredible landmarks in just a few hours. If you are visiting in the busier months, then make sure to book this in advance. We will leave the link in the description below. So the first thing you have to see is the Statue of Liberty. Arguably America's most iconic statue, the Statue of Liberty has to be at the top of your New York bucket list. Built in 1886, Lady Liberty continues to stand tall as a symbol of freedom. Book tickets in advance if you want to head up to the crown of the Statue of Liberty, and always plan to visit in the morning to avoid the queues. Offering breathtaking views of the city, Top of the Rock is a tourist must found in the Rockefeller Center. Take the NBC tour, enjoy a bit of shopping, and then head up to the observation deck to take in an amazing view of the New York City skyline. For another amazing viewpoint, head to the Empire State Building. This is a historic building in itself, and nothing beats heading to the two observatories for views of the city and beyond. On a clear day, you can see the neighbouring states. bright lights and endless crowds, Times Square is the place to be in New York City. We have a guide to the best things to do in Times Square, but remember to check out the fun stores and take an iconic photograph in the middle of the square. Whether you are looking for a walk, pedal or carriage ride, you need to visit Central Park during your time in New York City. This is a huge park, meaning you could easily spend a whole day here. Visit Strawberry Fields, Belvedere Castle, Central Park Zoo and the lake whilst you are in the park, and remember to pick up a map at one of the visitor centres to avoid getting lost. The next thing you have to do whilst you're in New York City is visit the Brooklyn Bridge. With Gothic architecture, the Brooklyn Bridge is a unique and recognisable landmark in the city. Catch a water taxi across to Brooklyn and then take a walk along the famous bridge on the wood plank walkway. Whilst in Manhattan, make sure to check out Grand Central Terminal. This train station again is iconic and worth a visit whilst you're in New York. The building opened in 1913 as a terminal for the subway and train station, but is known for its beautifully restored ceiling and grand staircase. If you love the theatre, then you must visit Broadway. We have a whole blog post about how to get cheaper Broadway tickets on our website, Creative Travel Guide, but book tickets in advance if you have a specific show that you want to see. Personally, my top choices are Wicked and The Lion King. Alternatively, you should head to Radio City Music Hall. This famous entertainment venue is a must visit for those that love dance. Watch the Rockettes perform in this Art Deco theatre or take a backstage tour of this historic building. Paying tribute to almost 3,000 people killed as a result of the attacks on September the 11th, you need to visit the 9/11 Memorial and Museum in New York City. The museum includes artifacts, photos and videos that represent the story of 9/11, the aftermath and the impact. Another thing to do whilst you're in New York City is to go on the High Line. So the expanding and exciting High Line is a former rail track that has been transformed into an urban walking trail. This is a public park and walkway that stands above the city, offering a unique oasis in the bustling city that never sleeps. Also known as the Met, the Metropolitan Museum of Art is one of the most famous museums in the United States. Located across 3 sites, you can find a permanent collection of over 2 million works of art that cross 5,000 years of history. As one of the most famous shopping districts in the US, Fifth Avenue is the place to be if you are looking for some seriously expensive shopping. Expect stores like Tiffany and Saks Fifth Avenue, along with the famous Apple Store. Even if you don't have the budget, there is no harm in window shopping. Head to the top of the One World Trade Center building for fantastic views of the city in this uniquely structured glass building. The New York Public Library is another top place that you need to visit whilst you're in New York. This public library is an icon in the city with impressive architecture that has made many appearances in TV and film. The library is free to visit and often has exhibits open to the public. Just opposite the New York Public Library is Bryant Park. It is a beautiful urban oasis in the heart of the city. Pick up a book from the outdoor library stand and relax in the park. Spanning from Broadway to South Street, the famous Wall Street is an interesting place to visit whilst you're in New York City. Look for the bronze statue of the Charging Bull, visit the gorgeous Trinity Church, and explore the important neighborhood. Another must-see whilst you're in New York City is St. Patrick's Cathedral. One of the best examples of Gothic architecture in New York, the cathedral is a beautiful work of art that juxtaposes with the skyscrapers of Manhattan. With huge bronze doors, 330-foot spires, rose windows and a great organ, there is plenty to admire at the St. Patrick's Cathedral. Artists need to head to the Museum of Modern Art whilst you are in Midtown Manhattan. It has the world's most extraordinary collection of modern and contemporary art and is a must visit for anyone who loves art. Take a break from the hustle and bustle of Manhattan and head to Coney Island, a neighborhood and amusement park known for its oldest functioning roller coaster and Nathan's hot dog. In New York City, the next thing you have to do is to catch a game. Whether it is baseball, basketball, football or ice hockey, there is nothing like watching the sports in the Big Apple. The Yankees are a must-see if you are in New York City during the season. Short on time in NYC? Make sure to jump on a hop-on, hop-off bus to see the monuments and buildings around the city in just one day. These big bus tours take you around the city and give you views of places like the Flatiron Building and the Chrysler Building. Whilst you're in New York City, we recommend that you escape land and head onto the river. A Hudson River cruise is a great way to see New York City from a different perspective. Whether it is a yellowboat taxi, a luxury yacht, or a pirate-themed clipper boat, get yourself on the Hudson River. Another place to visit is Ellis Island. As the USA's main immigration entry point for 62 years, Ellis Island has played an important role in America's history. To truly appreciate the island, catch a statue cruise ferry over to view the historic site, visit the Treasures from Home exhibit, and do some digging on your own family tree at the American Family Immigration History Center. And perhaps one of my favourite things to do in New York City, eat your way around New York City. So eating at the best restaurants, eateries and street stands is one of the best things to do in New York City. Head to Katz's Deli for the best pastrami sandwiches around, tour the pizza spots around the city, or head to Chinatown for some cheap, delicious eats under $10. So firstly, we have to begin with the iconic landmarks. NYC is home to some of the most famous landmarks in the world. As a symbol of freedom and democracy, the Statue of Liberty is an iconic landmark that must be visited whilst you are here. Visitors can take a ferry to the island, explore the museum, and even climb up to the Crown for stunning views of New York Harbor. Visitors should also head to the Empire State Building, once the tallest building globally, which also offers incredible views from the observation decks. Times Square is known as the crossroads of the world and a vibrant place to explore, whilst Brooklyn Bridge is another must-see where you can walk or bike across the bridge for stunning views of the city's skyline. Standing at 1,776 feet, the One World Trade Center is the tallest building in the Western Hemisphere, and Rockefeller Center is famous for its Art Deco design and another great place for you to enjoy an incredible view of the city. Which brings us on to the next reason to visit New York City, the amazing architecture. Other than the landmarks we've just mentioned, you can also visit the Art Deco masterpiece that is the Chrysler Building, which is one of the city's most beloved skyscrapers. Shaped like a wedge, you can also see the Flatiron Building, one of the most photographed buildings in New York, but also make sure to spend some time exploring Grand Central Terminal, not just a transit hub, but an incredible example of architecture. Another reason to visit New York City is for the Broadway shows. Known as the theatre capital of the world, visitors can see different types of performances whilst you are here. We have a blog post about the best ways to get Broadway tickets over on our website Creative Travel Guide. I will leave the link to that in the description below. But whether you are interested in musicals, drama or comedies, there is something for everyone in New York. Another reason to visit the city is for the world-class museums. The city is home to some of the best museums in the world, such as the Metropolitan Museum of Art, the Museum of Modern Art, and the American Museum of Natural History. Plenty of these museums are included in the New York City Pass. We will leave the link to that in the description below, but this can be a great option to see many of the sites in the city without spending too much money. New York City is also a melting pot of cultures, and its food scene reflects that. From upscale Michelin-starred restaurants to iconic street food like hot dogs and bagels, you could experience culinary offerings from all over the world in just one city. Greenwich Village and East Village are vibrant neighborhoods known for their fantastic food scene, while Soho offers trendy cafes and upscale restaurants. Whenever we visit New York, we try to stay in the Hell's Kitchen area, as there are plenty of casual eateries and fine dining options available here so that you can try a bit of everything whilst you're visiting. Another reason to visit is for the beautiful Central Park. You can escape the city's hustle and bustle in the expansive greenery that is Central Park. Whether you are taking a leisurely walk, having a picnic, or renting a boat on the lake, the park provides a peaceful retreat in the heart of Manhattan. Known as the city that never sleeps, of course New York has a fantastic nightlife as well, which is another reason people choose to visit here. Whether it is those Broadway shows we mentioned before, the rooftop bars with stunning views, to the underground jazz clubs, there are plenty of options for you to choose from. We have a blog post about the best things to do in New York City at night over on our website Creative Travel Guide. Again, I will leave the link to that in the description below. As we mentioned before, there are plenty of cultures in New York City, and this is evident in the neighborhoods as well. You can explore neighborhoods like Chinatown, Little Italy, and Harlem to experience different cultures, cuisines, and traditions without leaving the city. And lastly, another reason to visit New York City is for the events and festivals. There is plenty going on in New York City throughout the year, from Fashion Week to the Tribeca Film Festival. However, our favourite times to visit has to be the holidays. Macy's Thanksgiving Parade is iconic, but nothing beats visiting New York at Christmas time. Whether it is ice skating outside Rockefeller Center, checking out the many holiday window displays, or visiting the Winter Village in Bryant Park, there are plenty of options for visitors in the city during the Christmas period. So firstly, we have Central Park. This famous sprawling oasis in the heart of Manhattan is one of the best things to do in New York City, especially if this is your first time here. Not only can you expect lush greenery, picturesque lakes and charming pathways, but you can also find playgrounds, an Alice in Wonderland statue, the Central Park Zoo, and even a castle. There are plenty of things to explore and do here, and we recommend spending at least half a day exploring Central Park. Then we have Times Square. This is one of the most famous places to visit in the city, with bright lights and dazzling billboards. This is the place for a sensory overload. Visit the shops here, head to one of the nearby restaurants, and make sure to book tickets for at least one Broadway show. If you plan on taking the hop-on, hop-off bus tour that we mentioned later on in this video, the routes often leave from Times Square too. Meaning with this easy transportation option, subways on most corners, great restaurants and bars here as well, Times Square is a fantastic place to stay, especially if you are only visiting for a few days. And there are plenty of hotel options nearby, from budget chain hotels to more luxurious options as well. We actually have a whole blog post about the best things to do in and around Times Square, so we'll leave the link to that in the description below. Next we have the Brooklyn Bridge. This iconic bridge is a marvel of engineering and connects Manhattan to Brooklyn. Take a ferry over to Brooklyn and then either walk or cycle back across the bridge to get panoramic views of the New York City skyline. Visit the bridge during early morning or late afternoon for the best lighting and fewer crowds, or head here for sunset to see the city skyline light up. Wear comfortable clothing if you plan on walking or cycling across the bridge as well. Then we have the Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island. This is another iconic thing to do in New York City, to see the Statue of Liberty that symbolizes freedom. Explore the museums and grounds around the Statue of Liberty itself, but also make sure to stop by Ellis Island to learn about the immigration history of the United States. If you can, we recommend trying to head up to the Crown in the Statue of Liberty. We loved our experience and you get some incredible views of the city, but it's also fascinating to be inside the Statue of Liberty itself. This is a very popular site to visit, so arrive early to avoid the queues, and if you do want to visit the Crown, book those tickets in advance on the website. We recommend booking Crown tickets a few months ahead of your visit. We will leave the link to where you can book those tickets in the description below. Next we have the Empire State Building. Of course, whilst you're in New York, you have to head up the Empire State Building. And although there has been some debate about which observation deck is the best, we do recommend heading up the Empire State Building because it is an iconic piece of architecture. There is also a museum here that takes you through the history of the Manhattan skyline. From the observation deck, you can see incredible views of the city and landmarks such as Times Square, the Hudson River and Central Park. Another great viewpoint is from Top of the Rock. Some people prefer the Empire State Building, some people prefer the Top of the Rock. We suggest you do both because from the Top of the Rock you can get a breathtaking panoramic view of a skyline that also includes the Empire State Building. You can save money for this attraction and many others on this list using the New York City Pass. We will leave the link in the description below. But for these two observation decks, we recommend choosing one to go to during the day and one to go to in the evening for slightly different types of views. Then we have Greenwich Village and Soho. Wander the streets of the charming Greenwich Village and Soho, where you can find historic homes and artistic boutiques. This is a unique thing to do in New York and greatly contrasts sites like Times Square. The Theatre District, known as Broadway, is where you can find incredible musical performances and plays, and is another best thing to do in New York City. There are various ways that you can book Broadway tickets, whether it is online at the ticket booth in Times Square or using one of the various apps and websites to get some cheaper deals. We actually have a whole blog post about this on our website, Creative Travel Guide. Again, I will leave the link to that in the description below. Then we have the Metropolitan Museum of Art. The Met is known as a cultural treasure in New York and loved by art enthusiasts all over the world. With a vast collection of art that spans centuries and continents, the Met is a must-visit for art lovers and anyone visiting New York City. Alternatively, or as well as, you could also head to the Museum of Modern Art. This is a great place for those who are a fan of modern and contemporary artwork, sharing an extensive collection of paintings, sculptures, and multimedia installations. For those that love museums and want to learn more about the wonders of the natural world, then head to the American Museum of Natural History. Whether you are looking for dinosaur fossils or immersive exhibitions that show the ecosystems around the world, this is an interesting place to visit in New York, especially if you are visiting here with children. A more romantic thing to do here in New York is to take a cruise along the Hudson and East River. Take in the New York City skyline and appreciate the landmarks from a different perspective on a cruise. There are many different options that you can choose from, whether you just want to take an affordable taxi boat or enjoy a lovely cruise with a meal and music, or take a more unique option such as the Clipper sailing ships. There are various options. We will leave some great choices in the description below, but try to take a cruise along the Hudson River whilst you're in New York. For an interesting but somber experience, head to the 9/11 Museum and Memorial, a place that remembers the events of September 11th, 2001. Located at the World Trade Center site, the museum shares artifacts, personal testimonies, and multimedia exhibits that share the events of that day. The memorial features 2 reflective pools set within the footprints of the Twin Towers, serving as a reminder of the scale of the loss that was had that day. Another interesting thing to do in New York City is to take the High Line. This elevated park was built on a former railway track and now serves as a pathway and garden for locals and visitors. If you are visiting in the spring, summer or fall months, this is a great place to take a stroll and see the city from a different perspective. The High Line also has various access points and nearby subway stations, including 14th Street and 8th Avenue. Not too far from the High Line's northern end is the Vessel, a unique structure in Hudson Yard, which we do recommend visiting. Another thing to do in New York City is to take a hop-on, hop-off bus tour. This is a great way to see the famous landmarks and historic buildings that you will want to see when you are here. The great thing about these bus tours is that you can see plenty of these landmarks within a short space of time. The hop-on, hop-off bus tour includes different loops that take you around most parts of the city and includes iconic landmarks such as the Empire State Building, the Flatiron Building, the Brooklyn Bridge, Wall Street, Hudson Yard and Times Square. Again, we will leave the link to that in the description below. So firstly, let's talk about getting to Times Square. So Times Square is not actually a square, but 4 quarters created on the intersection where 7th Avenue and Broadway meets Midtown Manhattan. However, most people refer to the large neighborhood as Times Square, from 40th Street to 52nd Street and 8th Avenue to 6th Avenue. There are many subway stations that will get you to the neighborhood. For those catching the subway, you can get off at 42nd Street, Rockefeller Center Station, 49th Street and 50th Street. The hop-on, hop-off tour buses tend to start and end in this area too. Now on to the good stuff, the best things to do in Times Square. So firstly we have The Ride. The Ride is a unique way to explore New York City and starts in Times Square. This is an interactive experience hosted by professional comedians who escort you around Manhattan on a side-facing bus. This is a 75-minute trip and expect to see places like the Grand Central Terminal, Central Park, New York Public Library and more. And the next thing to do in Times Square is Madame Tussauds. Pose with your favourite celebrities or get your own wax hand. This popular attraction is found on 42nd Street. Head here in the evening for a quieter, more romantic experience. The prices start at $37 and this attraction is open from 10 AM to 9 PM most days. And if you are travelling with children, the next thing to do in Times Square is Ripley's Believe It or Not. Located next door to Madame Tussauds, Ripley's Museum holds more than 500 real artefacts, along with interactive experiences, photo opportunities, galleries, and fun facts for the whole family to enjoy. There are a few New York City passes which include admission to Ripley's. We will leave all the links in the description below, but you can get the New York Explorer Pass, the Freestyle Pass, and New York City Sightseeing Pass. The next thing that you can do in Times Square is my favourite. See a Broadway show. Whilst in New York City, a Broadway show is a must. We have been fortunate to see quite a few shows in New York and I always say the classics are the best. But if you are travelling with family, there are some great choices such as Lion King, Stomp, Aladdin or Wicked. The Tickets box office is a #1 place to buy discounted tickets for the top Broadway shows. We actually have a whole guide on ways to buy Broadway tickets for your trip, so we will leave the link in the description below. Alternatively, if you want to see what is behind the action, why not take a Radio City stage door tour? If you love the theatre, then you will love this 75-minute Radio City Hall backstage tour, taking you behind the scenes of America's most famous theatre. You could even get a photo taken with the famous Rockettes. Tickets are also included in the New York City Explorer Pass, or you can book them in advance online for $30. Musicals not for you? Why not head to a comedy club in Times Square? Check on Groupon for deals at one of the comedy clubs in Times Square. Broadway Comedy Club on West 53rd Street shows headline performances throughout the year, whilst the LOL Times Square Club is more casual. If you are travelling with children but would like to visit a theatre, then head to the New Victory Theatre. This is New York City's only full-time performing arts theatre for children. The shows are aimed at children from 1.5 to 12 years old. You can see a full calendar and book tickets on their website, but expect to see shows of dance performances, circus acts, puppets and plays. Now, the next thing that you can do in Times Square is to take a self-guided walking tour. Download the free Tours by Foot app to explore Times Square in your own time. The app doesn't offer audio, but it does talk you through the important buildings and places in Times Square, giving detailed descriptions of the history and significance of Times Square attractions. And the next thing to do in Times Square is Bowlmore Times Square. This 48-lane bowling alley is a great place to relax and unwind in the evenings. Complete with an arcade and different themed lounge areas, this is an ideal place to chill out, dine and bowl. The Bowlmore Times Square is located on West 44th Street between 8th Avenue and Broadway. And the best thing is, it is open from 2 p.m. to midnight, so you can head here in the evenings, especially on the weekends where it is open till 2 a.m. Fridays and Saturdays. Have you got a sweet tooth? The next thing to do in Times Square is to head to Hershey's Chocolate World. A great shop for chocolate lovers, head to Hershey's. This store has lots of fun merchandise with even the option to customize a chocolate bar. Make sure to try the free samples as well. Now let's look at where to eat in Times Square. So there are lots of affordable and cheap places to eat in the area. If you are on a super tight budget, head to chains like Chipotle for fast food Mexican meals, or head to Pizzeria Pizza for New York pizza to go, where you can pay by the slice. Or visit Times Square Diner. They have endless food options and are open 24 hours a day. If you are looking to spend a little bit more, you can head to John's Pizzeria. This is a staple in Times Square and a must for any pizza lover. These coal oven pizza pies are known as the best in New York City. Carmen's is another great classic. It offers Italian-American styled family portioned meals. So those are a few things that you can do and eat whilst you're in Times Square, but there are a few more attractions that you can visit that are near Times Square. Firstly, we have Bryant Park, located just 1 block from Times Square. Bryant Park is a calming green oasis in the heart of Manhattan. There are activities here throughout the year, such as live music, board games and ping pong tables, but also an open library, allowing you to take a book and read during your chill out in the park time. Another way to see New York is to get a hop-on, hop-off sightseeing tour. These often start in the area, but are a great way to see neighbourhoods and landmarks such as Madison Square Gardens, Chinatown, Broadway, Empire State Building and more. Not too far from Times Square is one of my favourite attractions in New York, the Top of the Rock Observatory. Head to the top of Rockefeller Center to enjoy panoramic, uninterrupted views of New York City. The famous building is under a 5-minute walk from Times Square, and we recommend heading here for sunset. And artists will love the Museum of Modern Art. MoMA is a standout art museum in New York City and is not too far from Times Square. They have a vast collection of contemporary art from world-renowned artists. The museum is around a 12-minute walk, or you can catch subway line F, R or E from Times Square. So firstly, you arrive in New York City and the first thing you need to do is to get to your hotel. The best way to save money doing this is to skip the cab. This can cost at least $50. Instead, use the air train to get from the airport to Queens and then the subway to get to your hotel. If you really need a taxi, especially if you're traveling as a big group, then make sure you use Uber. Another way that you can save money by traveling around New York City is by using the subway. It may be old, but is one of the most iconic and convenient ways to get around the city. You can get yourself a free pocket map at many of the train stations or download the Metro app to help you plan your route around NYC. If you are planning to stay longer than 6 days, then buy an unlimited Metro card for $31. So one of your biggest costs in New York City will be accommodation. There's a few ways that you can save money on accommodation in New York City. Firstly, try to stick to chain hotels or Airbnbs. Cheap budget chain hotels will give you some really great deals, especially if you book in advance. Or if you are traveling as a group, then you can look for Airbnbs, especially ones that aren't in the city centre. If you are looking for a little more luxury, maybe try to use some of your hotel points. There are lots of great chain hotels in New York City, like the Marriott or Hilton hotels, that you can use your points to stay in or upgrade your room. When it comes to food, New York City is not short of its amazing restaurants and food options. However, if you're on a budget, my best advice is to stick to food trucks and street carts. When you're thinking about eating out, one of my best tips for eating in restaurants is to avoid restaurants that are near major attractions. Restaurants in Times Square or Midtown are super expensive because everyone is there, so try and get a restaurant further afield. And of course, nothing beats the New York City pizza. You can save a lot of money by living off those $1 pizza slices. And also, look out for happy hours. There are lots of bars around New York City, and again, the ones that are further away from Times Square, the cheaper they're gonna get. But there are often bars that will have a really good happy hour from 4 p.m. until around 6 or 7 p.m. Another great way to save some money in New York City is by walking. There are lots of great attractions near each other. We actually have a full walking tour guide on our website, Creative Travel Guide. We will leave the link in the description below. But plan your days to visit some of the attractions that are near each other to save money on transport. If you are looking at going to some of the paid attractions in New York City, then you can get yourself a coupon using websites like Groupon. Groupon has loads of discounted deals for Broadway shows, events, spa treatments, and restaurants. Or if you're going to somewhere like Madame Tussauds or Ripley's Believe It or Not, you can book your tickets online in advance to save some money as well. And you can't visit New York City without going to Broadway. The tickets booth is one of the best ways and one of the most popular ways to get discounted tickets. Again, we have a whole guide of ways to save money on Broadway tickets on our website. I will leave the link in the description below. And one last thing, take advantage of all of the 3 attractions in New York City. Explore Times Square, visit Central Park, and make sure you spend some time walking across the Brooklyn Bridge. So firstly, we have Central Park. As a staple for NYC, Central Park is a great way to start a trip to the city and is completely free to visit. No matter what time of the year you head here, you can find charm in this gorgeous park, complete with fountains, bridges, a lake, and even a castle. Times Square is an iconic spot in New York and a must visit for anyone coming to the city. Of course, the neighborhood is free to explore, with many shops to browse and plenty of people watching opportunities. Then we have the Staten Island Ferry. For amazing views of the New York City skyline from the waters, jump on the Staten Island Ferry. This is a free ferry route between Staten Island and Lower Manhattan, running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Whilst you're in New York, pay your respects at the 9/11 Memorial. Here you will find twin waterfall pools surrounded by the names of the victims from the attacks. You can visit the memorial for free or pay an additional fee to also visit the 9/11 Museum nearby. Then we have St. Patrick's Cathedral. This is a beautiful cathedral in New York and is free to visit. Located off Fifth Avenue, this neo-Gothic style cathedral was completed in 1879 and is even featured in various movies and TV series. Then we have Grand Central Station. This is one of the most iconic stations in New York City, and you do not need a train ticket to explore the station itself. Not only is it impressive with incredible ceiling art, but it is also used in many movies and TV series. It even has a whispering wall. Inside the station, you'll find plenty of shops and restaurants to explore, but head here in the winter time to enjoy some festive markets as well. One of the most unique parks in New York City is the High Line. The park was once an elevated rail line, but now forms a promenade stretch of 1.5 miles covered in greenery and plants. This is a great place to take a stroll, especially in the spring or summer months. Then we have Coney Island. Known for its amusement parks and beaches, Coney Island is a great place to spend a day, especially in the warmer months. Pack snacks from the supermarket and enjoy a free day relaxing on the beach and strolling along the boardwalk. Then we have the New York Public Library. This is a great place to visit in the city and of course is free. Included in plenty of movies and TV series, this is an iconic marble building that took 16 years to construct. After a visit inside to see the impressive architecture, make sure to head out to the nearby Bryant Park, which holds movie nights during the summer and ice skating during the winter. The Brooklyn Bridge is one of the most iconic spots in New York City, and walking across it is a must. Offering you gorgeous skyline views, head here early morning for a quieter walk across, or head here during sunset to see the skyscrapers light up. So the most important thing about booking your trip to the Statue of Liberty is to book a ticket 3 months ahead. You will want to book your tickets in advance, especially if you plan on visiting the Crown or the museum inside the Statue of Liberty. Tours and Crown access are very limited and will book up at least 2 months in advance. Make sure you head to the official website to book your tickets ahead of time, plus you save time queuing up for your tickets when you get there. So as I mentioned just now, there is an option for you to go to the Crown of the Statue of Liberty, and I would highly recommend this. This was one of our favourite travel experiences of all time. You get to have breathtaking views of New York City whilst taking in a little bit of the history. There are over 300 stairs on a narrow, winding staircase, so it is not for the faint of heart. But if you are going to head up to the Crown, there is a few things that you need to know. First of all, make sure to wear comfortable shoes and be prepared to climb. Also, especially if you're going to the Crown, make sure to allow plenty of time and try to visit during the week for a quieter experience. So that leads us on to our next tip for visiting the Statue of Liberty. Go early and during the week. So weekends in New York City are always going to be busier than they are going to be during the week because you have people in cities nearby making a weekend trip to NYC. To experience the Statue of Liberty at its best, you do not want to have loads and loads of crowds. Plus, if it is too busy, those ferries can get really overcrowded and you might have to wait a long time to get onto the next one. So try to book a weekday ticket, try and book an early morning ticket, and if you can, avoid holidays. So try to avoid spring break or the summer holidays. So the next thing that you might want to know when you go to the Statue of Liberty is that you can take a free tour. If you want to learn more about the history of Liberty Island, you can take a free tour ran by the Rangers. Now, to do this, you need to head to the flagpole on Liberty Island. Rangers lead tours throughout the day, and these last for around 30 to 45 minutes. You can check at the Information Centre on Liberty Island for a full tour schedule. Another tip for visiting the Statue of Liberty is to bring a picnic. There are plenty of green spaces and benches around the island for you to take a seat and enjoy your own snacks. If you do find yourself eating at the cafeteria, you don't have to worry too much. The food quality isn't great, but it isn't as expensive as other restaurants in tourist areas. You can expect to pay around $10 for lunch, and make sure to take advantage of the free water fountains as well. Which leads me on to my next tip. Make sure to bring a water bottle and sunblock. Especially if you're going to be walking up to the Crown, you will need plenty of water for this trip. But it's also a good idea to bring some sunblock, especially if you are visiting in the spring or summer months. There is very little shade on Liberty Island, so bring a hat and sunblock to keep protected. So you might be wondering if you can visit Liberty Island with children. And of course you can. There is a children's version of the audio tour aimed at children aged 6 to 10. This is available in English, Spanish, Italian, German, French, Mandarin, Arabic, Hindu, Korean, Russian, Japanese and Portuguese. There is also a Junior Ranger program for those children aged 7 to 12, and the program is available to print online. Now, something that is often overlooked when visiting the Statue of Liberty is the original torch. Now, up until recently, you had to have tickets to go inside the museum to see the original torch, but that is no longer. There is now a Statue of Liberty museum open to all visitors to the Liberty Island. Here you can see the original torch, which was removed and replaced in 1986 after it had lasted for 100 years, but its damage was beyond restoration. The museum is now open to everyone who visits Liberty Island, so make sure to spend some time and visit the museum. So you might be wondering, how much does it cost to visit the Statue of Liberty? So prices do differ depending on what you are looking for. If you are hoping to just visit the island, an adult will pay $19.25 at the time of recording this in 2021. But it's also the same price if you want to go inside the Statue of Liberty, and it's $22.25 if you want to head up to the Crown. So before we share our tips, we thought we would quickly look at what the Empire State Building is and its significance in NYC. The Art Deco skyscraper is an iconic landmark standing in the center of New York City with 102 floors. The building opened in 1931 and stands at 1,454 feet high, once being the tallest building in the world until 1970. So now let's move on to our tips. So first of all, let's talk about getting there. So the Empire State Building is in Midtown Manhattan, located on 5th Avenue, but the entrance to visitors is at 20 West 34th Street. The best way to get here is by taking the subway to Penn Station or Herald Square Station. Both stops are around a 5-minute walk from the Empire State Building. Alternatively, you could catch a sightseeing bus around the city, learning more about the historic landmarks, then jump off at the nearest stop to the Empire State Building. So now let's look at the best time to visit. So first of all, we recommend that you visit early. The Empire State Building opens at 8 AM every day, so get here for opening to avoid the crowds. If you don't want to get up super early, then head to the Empire State Building after 8 PM. This is when the queues are shorter, crowds are smaller, and you can see the city lit up at night. For the best experience, in my opinion, head here for sunset. This gives you views of the city during the day and then watch the city lights flicker on as the sun sets. Just make sure to book your tickets online ahead of your visit because this is a really popular time to visit the building and there'll be long ticket queues. So now let's talk about planning. So when planning a visit, expect to spend at least an hour and a half in the Empire State Building. During the warmer months, expect longer waits for the elevators and plan to be in the building for at least 2 hours. Also, make sure to head to the 102nd floor. The standard ticket takes you to the 86th floor, but nothing beats the enclosed viewing area on the 102nd floor. This is 1,250 feet above the city. There are also many different exhibits inside the building that you can visit too, with 9 on the 2nd floor. These include the Site in the 20s, a construction exhibit, a World's Most Famous Building exhibit, which talks through the movies, TV shows, games, and commercials that feature the iconic building. Short on time? When heading to the Empire State Building, you will find that you will have to queue for security, then the ticket, then the elevator. If you are short on time, make sure to book the express tickets to use the VIP entry and express lanes. Which moves us on to tickets. So when booking a ticket, there are a few different options for you to choose from. There are main deck and top deck options for those who want to just visit one floor or both, along with accompanying express tickets for either of these floors. You could also get an AM and PM experience ticket where you can visit the main deck during the day but can return in the evening to see the view at night. For those looking for a behind the scenes tour, you could also choose to book a premium experience. Regardless of which ticket you choose, we recommend that you book your tickets in advance online. Alternatively, you can get yourself a New York Pass, a New York City Pass, or a New York Sightseeing Pass. All of these attraction passes include the Empire State Building and allow you to skip the ticket line. So firstly, head to the Colour Factory. Inspired by the colours of the city, this collaborative exhibit will appeal to all ages. Different rooms host an array of colour and interactive experience, from a giant ball pit to a balloon-filled room. Just make sure to book your tickets online to get discounted rates. Next we have the High Line. Explore NYC like a local by heading to the High Line, an elevated park built on an abandoned railway. It consists of a wide planted walkway with art and water features along the way. Plus there are events hosted here from time to time throughout the year. It is something entirely different for all the family to enjoy. You could also head to the Brooklyn Bridge. This mile-long iconic bridge provides amazing views of downtown Manhattan, the Statue of Liberty and the Freedom Tower. It's not to be missed, so get your camera ready. During your visit to New York, also make sure to check out the New York Aquarium. You can find the New York Aquarium in the busy borough of Brooklyn. As well as having the chance to see otters, seals, and penguins, there are some amazing shows held here in the Aqua Theatre. Kids are guaranteed to have a whale of a time. Planning a trip to New York City, especially with children, can be hard, so make sure you hit subscribe if you want to see some more New York travel videos. Next we have the theatre. So New York is renowned for its theatre district, so there are hundreds of plays and musicals to choose from. Whether it is the ever popular Lion King, Wicked, or Harry Potter, you will never be short of choices, especially for children. You can get Broadway tickets a number of different ways, and we actually have a whole video about ways to get good, cheap Broadway tickets on our YouTube channel. I will leave the link in the description below. Next, we have Times Square. So with bright lights, interactive stores, and themed restaurants, Times Square is a great place to visit with the family. Head to the popular Disney store for a bit of magic, get the perfect family photo, or check out the many things to do on Times Square. Of course, New York City is full of plenty of tours no matter what you are looking for. If you are visiting New York with young children, why not check out Disney on Broadway, a behind-the-scenes look at how the magic comes to life. Or if you are visiting with older children, why not take a food tour around New York City or a movie tour? You could also head to a game. Whether it is a baseball game at Yankee Stadium or a Giants game, you will have fun at these events. Check availability before you book your trip, and again, make sure you book your tickets in advance. We will leave our favourite places to get tickets from in the description below. Then we have Central Park. So a trip to New York with kids wouldn't be complete without a trip to Central Park. Expanding over 840 acres, the park makes for a beautiful day out. There are loads of things to do once you get here. It has sports facilities as well as amusement attractions and even a zoo. And then we have Ripley's Museum. So this museum is unusual, interesting, and interactive. It is a great way to spend an afternoon in New York City, especially when it is too hot, cold, or wet outside. Kids will love this museum, and you can get free admission if you get the New York City Pass. We love the New York City Pass for getting discounted tickets. Again, we will leave the link in the description below, but you can save a lot of money, especially when you are traveling as a family if you get your tickets in advance. So the first thing you have to do in Brooklyn is visit the Brooklyn Bridge. Brooklyn Bridge is by far the most iconic landmark of New York City and Brooklyn. Thousands of cars regularly pass through the bridge. Endless pedestrians and sightseers populate the upper walkway, and to get a spectacular view of Brooklyn Heights and Lower Manhattan, we recommend you do the same. You could also visit the nearby Brooklyn Bridge Park, full of amazing sport activities to do, especially during the summer months. Another thing to do in Brooklyn is to visit the Brooklyn Flea Market. This is known as the mother of all markets. It is the place to be if you wake up one morning and only feel like shopping, eating, and drinking. Here you can find some amazing homemade food, from everything from bagels and donuts to sliders and grilled cheese. You could also find hundreds of vendors selling handcrafted jewellery, arts, crafts, vintage clothing, and furniture. For something a little more relaxing, why not head to the Brooklyn Botanic Garden? This is a beautiful 50-acre garden with a Japanese hill and pond garden as the centerpiece. It even has a tea house and shrine. The garden also has an Elizabethan-styled herb garden and one of North America's largest rose collections. If you are heading to Brooklyn with family, we highly recommend that you head to Luna Park. Located on Coney Island, Luna Park is an amusement park full of thrilling rides and sandy beaches. This is a very popular summer destination and one of New York City's largest attractions. Here you will find family-friendly rides, a scream zone, go-kart track, and the very popular Coney Island Funny Face Tickler ride, as well as the historic Cyclone roller coaster. We then have the Brooklyn Academy of Music. This is a multi-art centre hosting film, opera and performances of all varieties. The Academy is Brooklyn's oldest and leading cultural venue, previously hosting many famous performers. Situated at the edge of Prospect Park, Brooklyn Museum is the second largest art museum in New York City and one of the largest cultural institutes in the United States. The museum boasts an impressive collection of foreign art. It was the first museum in the US to exhibit African objects as artwork, and there are around 4,000 Egyptian pieces of artwork here too. Once you are in Brooklyn, you should head over to the New York Aquarium. It is situated at Coney Island. You will find a huge variety of sea life here at the aquarium, including sharks. New York City is one of the most popular places for tourists in the world, and for good reason. This is Katie from Creative Travel Guide, and today we share 15 famous landmarks in New York City. Looking for more travel tips? Make sure to hit subscribe and ring that notification bell. So firstly, we have to begin with the Statue of Liberty. Standing on Liberty Island, the Statue of Liberty is a symbol of freedom and democracy. Gifted by France in 1886, it welcomes immigrants and visitors to the New York Harbor. The towering copper statue is an iconic landmark in New York City and a must-see for visitors, especially during your first time here. The Empire State Building was once the tallest building in the world and is known as an iconic Art Deco masterpiece that dominates the Manhattan skyline. Completed in 1931, the 102-story skyscraper remains an enduring symbol of New York's resilience and ambition. You can head up to the 86th or 102nd floor for panoramic views of the city whilst visiting this famous landmark in New York City. For a slightly different type of landmark, head to Central Park. This sprawling 843-acre green oasis is located in the heart of Manhattan. Known as the crossroads of the world, Times Square is a bustling commercial and entertainment hub. Brightly lit by its many electronic billboards, Times Square attracts millions every year, so make sure to explore Times Square and see a show at one of the theatres nearby. Completed in 1883, the Brooklyn Bridge is one of the oldest suspension bridges in the US and another famous landmark in New York. Connecting Manhattan and Brooklyn across the East River, you can walk, cycle, or drive across this iconic bridge whilst you are here. The One World Trade Center, also known as the Freedom Tower, stands as a powerful symbol of resilience and recovery following the 9/11 attacks. Rising 1,776 feet, this is the tallest building in the Western Hemisphere and is a must-visit for those in New York City. For another iconic landmark in New York, why not visit Rockefeller Center? This vast complex in Midtown Manhattan is best known for its Art Deco architecture and annual Christmas tree lighting ceremony. Also home to an iconic ice skating rink during the winter months, Rockefeller Center is another famous destination in the city. Another Art Deco icon is the Chrysler Building. It briefly held the title of the world's tallest building, but visitors can now appreciate this iconic landmark in the New York City skyline. As one of the busiest train stations in the world, Grand Central Terminal is more than just a train station. It is an architectural gem, known for its incredible ceilings, sweeping staircases, and beautiful designs. This is a must-see for visitors. Another iconic landmark in New York City is the New York Public Library. The main branch of the New York Public Library is located on Fifth Avenue and is an architectural masterpiece. Known for its iconic lion statues, the library's interior features grand reading rooms and holds millions of books and rare manuscripts, making it a center for learning and research. Whether you go inside the library or not, it is important to check it out as this is an iconic landmark in the city and also features in many movies. The Flatiron Building is another famous landmark with its unique triangular shape. Completed in 1902, it was one of the tallest buildings in Manhattan at the time and is one of the city's most photographed structures. Located on Fifth Avenue, St. Patrick's Cathedral is a stunning example of neo-Gothic architecture and another famous landmark. Completed in 1878, it serves as the seat of the Archbishop of New York. The cathedral's spires, stained glass windows, and grand interior make it a major religious and cultural landmark in the heart of Manhattan. Wall Street is the financial heart of the US, home to the New York Stock Exchange, the largest stock exchange in the world. The area symbolizes global finance and is marked by the Charging Bull statue, representing the energy and strength of the market, making this area another famous place to explore in New York City. Then we have Radio City Music Hall. Known as the showplace of the nation, Radio City Music Hall is an Art Deco theatre on 6th Avenue. Opened in 1932, it has hosted legendary performances, including the Rockettes' famous Christmas Spectacular. The luxurious interior makes it one of the most iconic entertainment venues in New York and a must-see for visitors. Which brings us on to another iconic entertainment venue, Madison Square Garden. Often referred to as the Garden, this is the world's most famous arena. Located in Midtown Manhattan, it hosts everything from New York Knicks and Rangers games to concerts and events. With a history spanning over a century, this is a must-see landmark in New York City. So firstly we have Central Park. This iconic park offers sprawling green spaces, scenic walking paths and attractions like the Central Park Zoo and Bethesda Terrace. This can be a serene escape from the city's hustle and bustle, so make sure to visit no matter what time of the year you are in New York City. Then we have the Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island. As a symbol of freedom and democracy, this is one of the most iconic landmarks in America and a must-see whilst you are in New York. You can take a ferry to see Lady Liberty up close, and if you book far enough in advance, you can even head up to the Crown. Then finish off your trip by exploring the Ellis Island Immigration Museum over on Ellis Island. However, if you are visiting New York during a busy season, make sure to book those tickets in advance. We will leave the link to that in the description below. Then we have Times Square. Known for its bright lights, Broadway theatres and bustling energy, Times Square is the place to be in New York City. Next we have the Empire State Building. Offering breathtaking panoramic views of the city, make sure to head up to the observation deck in this Art Deco skyscraper. Featured in plenty of movies, you can also learn about the history of this building whilst you are here. Entrance to the Empire State Building and other attractions on this list are included in the New York City Pass, so we will leave the link to that in the description below if you want to save some money whilst you are here. Then we have the Brooklyn Bridge, so you can walk, cycle or take a taxi across this historic bridge which offers stunning views of the Manhattan skyline and the East River. Connecting Brooklyn to Lower Manhattan, we personally recommend getting a water taxi over to Brooklyn, explore the area and then walk across to get those magnificent views of the New York City skyline. Whilst you're in New York, you also need to catch a Broadway show. Whether it is a classic musical, a Disney story coming to life, or a play, you have to see at least one show whilst you are here. We actually have a whole guide about how to get the best Broadway shows for cheap prices over on our website Creative Travel Guide. I will leave the link to that in the description below. As one of the world's largest and finest art museums, the Met presents over 5,000 years of art from every corner of the globe, making it another must-see on your New York City bucket list. Paying tribute to the victims of September 11, make sure to visit the 9/11 Memorial and Museum. The Memorial and Museum tells the story of the tragic events of that day, as well as the aftermath. Another thing to do in New York is to stroll along the High Line. This elevated park is built on a former rail line, offering beautiful gardens, art installations, and views of the Hudson River. This can be a great way to escape the hustle and bustle of New York City, especially if you are visiting in the spring or summer months. Another popular art museum is the Museum of Modern Art. Renowned for its impressive collection of modern and contemporary art, MoMA showcases works from Picasso, Van Gogh and Warhol. Rockefeller Center is another must-visit whilst you are here. Head up to the top of the Rock observation deck for incredible views of the city, visit the nearby Radio City Music Hall, and also enjoy some ice skating if you are visiting in the winter months. The stunning architecture of the Grand Central Terminal is something that shouldn't be missed as well. This historic train terminal is known for its majestic main concourse and incredible ceiling, but there are also plenty of restaurants and eateries in here that you can grab some food from, but also make sure to see the not-so-secret Whispering Gallery. Whilst you're in New York, you also have to visit Fifth Avenue. Shop along this famous avenue, home to high-end stores, including iconic department stores such as Saks Fifth Avenue. You could also visit landmarks such as St. Patrick's Cathedral whilst you're here. New York City is jam-packed with museums, and an interesting one to visit is the American Museum of Natural History. Here you can explore exhibits ranging from dinosaur fossils to the wonders of the cosmos in this vast, fascinating museum. For something a little different, why not head over to Coney Island? This is a legendary amusement area known for its classic boardwalk, thrilling rides, and famous Nathan's hot dogs. For some incredible food, you also need to visit Chelsea Market. This bustling market offers a diverse range of culinary delights, with food from all over the world being offered here. We highly recommend stopping by Chelsea Market for at least one meal whilst you are here. Another great place to visit, especially in the summer and winter months, is Bryant Park. During the summer, you can relax on the greenery, enjoy the seasonal activities, watch those outdoor movies, and enjoy a beautiful reading room here. But in the winter, this place fills up with a wonderful Christmas market, which can be fun to explore. Another interesting museum in New York City is the Intrepid Museum. Located on an aircraft carrier, this museum offers exhibits on aviation, space exploration, and its military history. Wall Street is another iconic area of New York City. Here you can see the New York Stock Exchange and the famous Charging Bull statue, whilst you wander around somewhere that is described as the financial heart of the world. Battery Park is another great park to explore and a free thing to do whilst you're in New York City. Here you can see great views of the Statue of Liberty, the harbour, and Ellis Island. As the tallest building in the Western Hemisphere, make sure to visit the One World Observatory. You can enjoy the breathtaking views from the top of the One World Trade Center, but also check out the many restaurants inside the building as well. For some great photos, make sure to check out the Flatiron Building, known for its uniquely shaped architecture. Stop by the New York Public Library, featured in many movies and TV shows, but also offering stunning architecture and, of course, a vast collection of books. They also run exhibits throughout the year which can be free to visit, so make sure to check them out whilst you are here. If you plan your trip well in advance, make sure to plan around a Madison Square Garden event. Whether it's a concert or a sports event, try to visit the world's most famous arena whilst you are in New York. Washington Square Park can be a great place to relax, famous for its iconic arch, lively atmosphere, and cultural significance. If you are looking for something a little quieter, why not head over to the Bronx to visit the New York Botanical Gardens. The gardens feature beautiful plant collections and seasonal exhibits. You can also take the tramway for stunning views and explore the peaceful island parks over at Roosevelt Island. There are some historic sites here and scenic walkways, offering a different experience whilst you are in New York City. Watch this video to find out the things to know before you go to New York City. Then for tips on visiting the Empire State Building, watch this video. We hope you have an incredible time in the city that never sleeps, and stay creative.